Sometimes clearing the damage and debris in the wake of a deadly storm can seem simple compared to the amount of stress that families are trying to cope with. He was secretly watching 3 Manchester teens taking a shower. Hey, Kathy, yeah, you can see the snow is falling. I'm pretty happy because I didn't want to wear my snow boots for nothing. But the SWAT team has to search every nook and cranny because you never know where the suspect may be hiding. We are in for a dangerously hot weekend. A heat advisory will be in effect. Good evening, I'm Jessica Larche. Kathy Times is off tonight. Across the street, there was a couple going through his belongings, trying to steal what valuables they could. You see, when the sewage starts to decompose, it eats up the concrete and causes it to crumble. But only 1% of those background checks are actually rejected for guns. Now, a week of freezing cold temperatures, definitely not man-made, but the city's really old cast iron pipes like this one are, and it's a major factor that led to the water crisis. So I had to see if I could hang with Chris. It couldn't be that bad, right? And as efforts to clear the oil in the Gulf continue, the grief remains behind for the families and friends of the 11 victims. Reporting in Jackson, Jessica Larche, Fox 40 News. Tossed cars, damage and debris, all signs of the twister that tore through the heart of Holmes County here in Ebenezer. And now folks are trying to mend their lives and their hearts.
When that storm came that morning, just took them away.
Sammy Coleman can't believe his stepbrother, Reverend Esley Brown, is gone.
He's a good brother.
Saturday morning, Brown was getting ready to preach at one of Coleman's friends' funerals. That's when the tornado hit.
Storm came and took the house and while he was in it.
The tornado tore Reverend Brown's double-wide trailer in two with him inside. The trailer on either side of Ebenezer Road, Reverend Brown's body lying in this field near his truck.
I couldn't believe it.
Just a few houses down, a similar scene.
Found her underneath that debris over there.
Elnora Simmons says her sister Doris Hoover was inside her trailer when the tornado picked it up.
And when she got to the kitchen, the house started flipping.
And fell on top of her sister. Luckily, a group of people pulled her out. With just a few broken bones, she's recovering at UMC.
You would look at it and think, nobody could have made it out of this. But she did.
It's a story Coleman wishes he could tell about his stepbrother.
He's gonna be well missed, I know that.
And as people work to patch up their property, they hope they can patch up the heart of Holmes County. Reporting in Holmes County, Jessica Larche, Fox 40 News. From cuts to your child's education.
This is not going to be business as usual.
To mentions of merging some state universities.
No merger, no closure.
To shutting down hospitals that help the mentally ill. Bad news about Mississippi's budget comes every month as the governor announces sales tax revenues don't meet expectations.
Come up with another way. Come up with a better way.
But there is another way. Some of the bad budget news could have skipped the headlines.
This is not something that happened overnight.
Fox 40 News has found up to $100 million the state could be bringing in every year. It's the 7% you see on receipts that isn't getting from some businesses to the state.
That's not fair to you or me. Everybody should be carrying their rightful load.
Kathy Waterbury's the spokesperson for the State Tax Commission. This is the office that counts and collects sales tax, then turns it over to the state to use for education, healthcare, roads, and more. But you can't really see the problem. It's the tax management system software they use to store all that information. It's just plain old, really old. Donnie Wilson of Wilson Auto Sales in Brookhaven is at the center of this story. And these two seemingly similar bills of sale are the catch to a big crime.
First purchased the vehicle.
Now meet Derek Suttles. He's also a part of this story, but we had to tell him why.
He gave me the paperwork to get the registration and, the tag and sticker and all that. And that was basically it.
Suttles is talking about a truck he bought from Wilson Auto Sales in 2005. The cost, $8,500, plus nearly $500 in sales tax.
I didn't trade any vehicle in.
You see, trading in a car would have cut down on the cost of Suttles' truck, meaning he'd pay less in sales tax. Keep that in mind.
And I actually had a car at the time that I was trying to trade in, but he didn't want to take the trade in because he said I owed too much money on the car.
So Wilson sold Suttles the truck with no trade-in.
I jumped on the deal, not knowing in the future this is what was going to happen.
What happened? Donnie Wilson created a way to pocket a portion of the sales tax money Suttles and dozens of other customers paid.
Really?
According to the Lincoln County District Attorney, here's how Wilson did it. Let's go back to those bills of sale we showed you. On one dated May 4th, 2005, a customer purchased a 1999 GMC Sierra 150 truck for $12,300. Sales tax on that is $615. The total this customer paid, $12,930. No trade-in is listed, and you can see Donnie Wilson signed off on it. But this bill of sale never made it to the State Tax Commission. Barbara Ramsey is scared to go to sleep in her home on Wright Drive and Flora Street.
I've been in that house 9 years. For 9 years, no fire hydrant.
6 years ago, her fear became reality.
It was just blazing.
A fire ripped through her 90-year-old neighbor's house, George Wright. When firefighters got to the street, they couldn't find any hydrants. By the time they found a working hydrant hundreds of feet away, it was too late. George Wright was dead. Only an empty lot remains.
He burned up in the house.
Fast forward 6 years, one thing has changed. More scorched houses near Ramsey's home.
I don't sleep at night. I'm up trying to see what's going to be set afire again.
Year after year, Ramsey and her neighbors have been calling and meeting with the fire and public works departments, crying for help. She walked me through street after street, no hydrants.
There's no hydrant on Dale Street. Nope. How did they skip over us and not put any down?
Ramsey says last fall, Public Works Director Thelman Boyd met with her neighborhood. She says he promised to install a hydrant by the 1st of January.
We got promises, and nobody showed up.
So I started looking for other hydrant holes in the city. First, pouring through 200 pages of hydrant locations, then a map. The little red dots represent fire hydrants, and there it was, a city annexed area in the northwest corner, not one single hydrant marker. So I came straight to the annexed portion of Jackson off West County Line Road and Cynthia Road, armed with my papers and papers of fire hydrants. And we drove around for miles and miles, and there is not one. And taxpayers say their life is on the line.
No fire hydrant. If the house catches fire, we just gone.
Willie Rogers has been living on Cynthia Drive for 19 years, and for the last two,
since we started paying taxes,
he's been paying taxes to the city of Jackson after it was annexed from Hinds County. He says there are no water lines, no sewage, no street lights, and no hydrants.
We're paying the taxes, why can't we get service from the city?
Rogers and Ramsey on two different sides of the city, but at the center of one hot-button issue. Here's a breakdown of the hydrant holdup. It's the fire department's responsibility to inspect hydrants and report areas where they're missing. Then it's up to the Public Works Department to install the hydrants. Jackson Fire Department spokesman Chief R.D. Simpson says they've turned over the list of areas in need more than once.
Well, in our business, seconds are eternities. Of course, there's a danger because if there's not any fire hydrants over there, it would be difficult for us to perform our job.
To get answers, I went straight to Public Works Director Thelman Boyd. Is it going to take someone else dying in a fire to get fire hydrants in that area?
We are in the process of installing a fire hydrant in that location so they will have sufficient fire protection.
Ramsey and her neighbors say they saw Public Works on Flora Street and Wright Drive just before Christmas last year, marking the street. Blue lines for water and green lines for sewage. 3 months later, just lines, no hydrants.
Well, we hope to have a fire hydrant in that location in the next 30 days.
Boyd says the expensive part is replacing smaller water lines with 8-inch lines for better pressure all over the city. It costs millions, and he says that's the reason for the 6-year holdup in Georgetown. But back in the annexed area, Boyd admits
there are no fire hydrants located there. We have a 5-year plan as funding become available to extend fire hydrants to those annexed areas.
5 years, Willie Rogers says he'll live in fear.
It's hard to get somebody out here, and that makes a person feel real scary.
A scary reality Ramsey says she's willing to see through until she can sleep at night.
And I am going to stick it out. I'm determined.
Now, Public Works Director Thelman Boyd tells me there will be a hydrant on Miss Ramsey Street in 30 days. And that's exactly where I'll be to see if that promise is kept. This locator marker for a working fire hydrant here on the corner of Hollingsworth and Flora Street, just 2 blocks from Miss Ramsey's home. Now, we told you that we would be back here in this neighborhood in a month from when our investigation aired, and as you can see, progress is being made.
I never thought I would see it as quick as it has come, and it's all because of what Fox 40 did.